What's cracking, guys? Bruce Matz here, your host show of Metro Scout Fantasy Football, and I'm back with some more rookie draft talk. I've noticed something over the last few days, and I think I've talked about it with some of you guys in the comments, and it's James Cook. What I've been seeing in some social media posts that people showing their drafts with screenshots or people just talking their philosophy is people are really bumping him up in value. And some people are bumping him up in value to the point it's like biblical proportions. It's 103, 102, 101 range. Sit back and think about that. Think about pre-draft process of how far people were drafting him in the second, third round of rookie mock drafts because they were speculating on the price tag. Think of what happened now with that big bump from the Bills, second round draft capital, and now we're seeing him go all over the board in the first round, late first round, mid first round, early first round, sometimes early second round. Like, he's all over the place. You got a big bubble here. He's either at the top, he could be in the middle, he could be at the bottom, but he's just going all over the place in the board. And some of you guys already had your drafts. Some of you guys are locked in on your values, and I kind of am too. But when I see something like this, I have to discuss it on here because, one, there's other fantasy gamers on here that probably see some of those posts, and you're like, man, maybe that's a good idea. Maybe that person's on something. Maybe I should be doing that. And I really want to discuss that, and I really want to bring that up. But when it comes to value like this, when someone shoots up the board like that, that might be a good time to think about trading back, getting your guy later. And that might be a good time on selling the pick. But James Cook coming up this quick up the board due to situation, due to the draft capital, is a scary place because if you're drafting him in the top 5, that is a lot of risk because going into the process, he was a running back with a lot of ambiguity in his profile due to lack of production, lack of size, and at the combine, he did okay. He didn't do bad, but we were expecting a little bit more. What we like about him is the receiving game. We like that he's with the Bills, high volume passing offense. There's a lot of ambiguous nature in that running back depth chart. He has the potential to be the lead guy there for a bit. It looks like this team likes to bring in running backs, mid-round picks, so I wouldn't be surprised they bring in another guy, especially next year's class is pretty stacked at running back. So that is in the cards, especially if they want a bell cow, a guy to run between the tackles, a guy with a nose for the end zone. He could surprise us. He's got some burst. He got some speed. He can catch the ball in the backfield. But value-wise, if you're overdrafting him, you're taking on more risk than the risk you were currently taken on in the latter part of the first round because earlier in draft season, he wasn't valued as such. And that bump, the 110, 109, 111-ish range, that's the bump. But if you're bumping it up from there, you're taking on even more risk. If you're thinking about drafting him at the 103, 102, 101, 105, 106, you may want to trade back a few spots, pick you up some draft capital, pick you up a prospect, pick you up something else. Try to get something else to add value to your team and still get him. There's no reason to make a statement with the pick. You love him. You love the situation. You love the Bills. I get it. I understand. And you might be right. You might be right. But why not get that extra draft capital? Why not get that player, that prospect? Who knows what you can get? I was talking to one guy on social media. He was on the clock at the 106. James Cook was there, and he started thinking about him. And at that moment, he knew he had to make the trade. So he traded out, got Jalen Waddle and a pick. He got something like that out of it. He made a little package, was able to get out of there. And this draft is not a sexy draft. There's a lot of landmines in this year's draft. This draft is tough waters to navigate. It's not like previous drafts. We're not loaded with talent from top to bottom. The top tier talent isn't as great as previous years. And this is an indicator that we have to be more creative when we're on the clock. We have to think about everything at our disposal. Trading for players, prospects, picks, whatever, proven veterans, whatever is there, and maximize their value. This is an indication that there's a lot of different values from league to league and how people are evaluating this class. So know your league. That's probably the most important thing to tell you right now. Know your league. Know how the order will go. A lot of times, if you're in your league for a few years and you're active and you're making trades and stuff, you have a good feel of what the managers in your league are wanting to do. Bumping James Cook up to the 103, 105, 106 spots are probably not even feasible in a lot of leagues, because a lot of leagues are set in their ways and they go by a certain order. But then there are other leagues where it's pure chaos, and you just got to know what kind of league you're in so you can take advantage of them values, because it's a lot different than ADP in a lot of leagues. Knowing your league's a lot better than that. I think one of the subscribers mentioned that in another video a few days ago, but it's true. Know your league, and the way to know your league is be active. Know the values on ADP versus the values in your league. Know what you like in players. Know what you like in prospects. There is a chance that James Cook can exceed expectations. There is a chance for that. I don't want to be narrow-minded and not see that. I want to see how he can succeed. And he does have some burst. He does have some speed. Catch the ball in the backfield. Ambiguous backfield here in Buffalo. I see him working in for the role, but things can get flipped on its head. We know players can just do better than expected. The odds of it aren't good, but there are some things in his game that could allow him to do well. On the same token, though, if you're overpaying for that, the risks are still there. They're not leaving. He wasn't super productive in college. We got a size issue. He didn't get drafted early in the second round. He kind of fell a little bit. Not all second round draft capital is the same. He's in a mix of running backs. This is a team that may want to add more to their committee, as teams like to have a committee at running back. You can't just focus on one. There's just a lot of pieces to this puzzle. We got a lot of good wide receivers in the draft, so why not pivot to one of those? Why not use up your draft capital on some of these good wide receivers who has a lot better hit rate? Another thing I want to hit on is this is an indication that this running back reset is about to happen. People getting thirsty for running backs because some of these older running backs are starting to hit that wall. Some of these younger running backs are starting to show some signs that they may not hit, or are starting to show a little bit of risk. And now we got some of these younger running backs coming in. Dynasty gamers are just trying to grasp at straws, paying a little bit extra, inflating their value, because this is an inflation event happening here at the running back position. This is one thing we're seeing here, and we're seeing this in some of these dynasty leagues. People paying up for James Cook, paying up for some other running backs, and they're trying to get that next running back, and they'll take that risk just to hope they hit. And that's all they're doing right now. They're trying to hope they hit on that running back spot, because the value here at running back is transitioning quick. And in the next year or two, this whole scene of running backs that we're drafting is going to look a lot different. They're going to be valued a lot different. It's going to be kind of strange when you look back to 2020, 2021 values to like 2023, 2024. So we are in the precipice of that. This is almost part of the catalyst. These young running backs coming in, pushing out some of the vets, creating some strange opportunities for us to capitalize on. And here, James Cook getting overvalued is an indication that's happening here in Dynasty Fantasy Football. That's an indication that this inflationary scenario of this young running back with limited production, some red flags in his profile, got drafted to a good situation in the second round, getting catapulted in some leagues, is an indication that these values for running backs are starting to flip on their head a little bit. We could be seeing this here in the next draft, which probably should be. 2023 is really stacked at running back. 4, 5, 6 running backs deep. We'll know more as we get through the college football season, but we're getting more talent at the running back position. The running backs are getting older. Injuries are setting in. Situations are changing. Roles are changing. Some running backs need to hit this year. Some running backs need to continue with their pace without getting injured. A lot of things can happen. And this sounds cliche with the running back landscape, because running backs do get hurt. Their shelf life aren't that long, but we have a set of them that's about to flip out on us. And it could be happening this year, next year, but it's going to be sooner than later. James Cook, what we're seeing with him on the market is an indicator for that. But let me know what you think about James Cook, where you're valuing him at, where are you seeing him go in drafts, because I can pull up ADP all day, but at the end of the day, it's your leagues. What's going on in your leagues is what matters. I want to hear about it. I want to hear where he's going into drafts, where you got him valued. Are you one of those dudes paying up a little extra for him, taking him over some of those big name wide receivers in the first round? What's happening with you? But I want to thank you for watching the show. Make sure you hit that subscribe button on the way out. If you haven't yet, I put out a lot of content here. I'm helping a lot of people out with their Dynasty Fantasy Football teams. If anything, we're just talking ball, having some fun here. getting you entertained and everything else. Again, though, I want to thank you, and I'll catch you next time.